So let's get started on our review, understanding theme. What is a theme? A theme is a message or a life lesson found in a story that the author is trying to communicate to the reader. The theme is not something that is written down for us to see. We must come up with it on our own. How do we find the theme? We must make inferences. This involves using what we know to find out what we don't know. We can use clues in the story and our own personal experiences to help figure out what is not directly said. Themes can be found in books, short stories, and poems. There can be more than one theme to a story. They can be positive or negative, but themes cannot be one word. A theme is a sentence statement, a message that the author is trying to get to the reader. And themes should be true for all people, universal, and that means that it's true for all people everywhere. Okay, let's stop for a minute and talk about the subject of the story, what it is. A subject can be one word, and it's the topic of the story, what the story is about. It's a one-word summarization of the story. Once we determine what the subject is, we can help us determine the theme. Here's some possible subjects up on the screen. Take a minute to look at. Some possible subjects are love, jealousy, bravery, loyalty, gratefulness. A theme is a statement about the subject of a story. And now I'm going to teach you a strategy for finding theme. And we're going to look at plot, main characters, subject, and that will help us determine theme. So number 1, I'm starting with the Three Little Pigs, the story that we all know. The plot. 3 pigs make homes out of different materials. The others taunt the 3rd pig for using brick. But after the big bad wolf comes to town, only the brick remains. Let's next go to our characters. We've got 3 pigs and a big bad wolf. And for the subject of story, I chose perseverance, which means that you don't give up on a task no matter what happens. You complete it to the end. And these are some possible themes that I came up with. Persistence is the key to success in life. Another theme is sticking to the plan is worth it in the end. I've got another short story for you to look at. It's called The Lion in Love, and it's from Aesop's Fables. A lion demanded the daughter of a woodcutter in marriage. The father, unwilling to grant, and yet afraid to refuse his request, hit upon this expedient to rid himself of his importunities. He expressed his willingness to accept the lion as the suitor of his daughter on one condition, that he should allow him to extract 4 of his teeth and cut off his claws, as his daughter was fearfully afraid of both. The lion cheerfully assented to the proposal, but when the toothless, clawless lion returned to repeat his request, the woodman, no longer afraid, set upon him with his club and drove him away into the forest. So let's use our strategy now. Let's first look at the plot of the story. The lion demands to marry the woodcutter's daughter. The father does not want this to happen and devises a plan. He renders the lion powerless and drives him away. Next, let's look at the characters. The woodcutter's daughter, there's a lion, and there's a woodcutter. Subject of the story. I chose sense of self or consequences for the subject of the story. And some possible themes are, never change who you are to please others. Or another one is, you need to consider the consequences of your actions. Now you're going to be able to practice finding theme on your own. At this point in the class, I would be putting students into group of 4, and they would have separate breakout sessions. And I'm going to be giving them 4 fairy tales, and I want them to look at each story and figure out a theme for each story. After they're finished with the activity, they'll be returning to a whole group class discussion, and we'll report our findings, what we figured out the themes were. And then finally, there will be an individual multiple choice theme quiz at the end of class, where a short reading passage you will find short reading passages, and you will be able to determine what the theme is of that passage. I do want to note that I did make accommodations for some of my students in this lesson. For the ELL students, I gave them additional time to do the quiz. They could turn it in the next day instead of that same day. And I also allowed them to use their eye translators on their devices throughout the class period.